This was a quiet night flight. Little did they know, the calm before the storm.
It is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, 1971. Somewhere over the dense, rain-soaked forests of the Pacific Northwest, a man opens the rear door of a commercial airliner, steps out into a pitch-black, freezing storm, and is never seen again. To understand how a hijacker became a folk hero, you have to look at the world he stepped into. The Vietnam War was grinding on, and public trust in the American government had reached a low point. For the working class who felt the system had failed them, an outlaw who could stick it to the establishment and vanish held a powerful appeal. The man who walked into Portland International Airport that afternoon was unremarkable. He bought a $32 one-way ticket using cash and the alias Dan Cooper. Witnesses described a man in his mid-40s, wearing a dark suit, a white shirt, and a black clip-on tie. Once in row 18, seat D, he did nothing to draw attention. He ordered a bourbon and soda, tipped the flight attendant well, and smoked Raleigh cigarettes while waiting. He was the kind of passenger who would be forgotten before the plane even landed. That forgettable, working-class disguise was the critical first step in a plan that would leave law enforcement without a single confirmed trace of his identity. 8 minutes after takeoff, the quiet act ended. Cooper handed flight attendant Florence Schaffner a note. When she initially tucked it away without reading it, he leaned over and told her, quite calmly, that he had a bomb in his briefcase. He showed her red cylinders and wires before laying out his terms: $200,000 in $20 bills and 4 parachutes. On the ground, the FBI scrambled to meet the demand, photographing every single bill to record the serial numbers before the cash was placed in a knapsack. Flight 305 landed in Seattle, where Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers for the money and parachutes. He then ordered the remaining crew to fly toward Mexico City, keeping the plane low and slow. This 727's unique design feature is a rear air stair dropping from its belly, allowing an in-flight exit. He ordered the plane below 10,000 feet with flaps extended, the slowest speed without stalling, creating the conditions needed to survive opening that door. At approximately 8 p.m., the flight crew felt a change in cabin pressure. The rear air stair had been deployed into the freezing Washington night. By trading the pressurized cabin for the deadly elements of the sky, Cooper completed his physical escape and left investigators with a search area that spanned miles of impenetrable forest. The FBI and military launched a massive search across the punishing, densely forested landscape of the Pacific Northwest. They combed the river valleys and mountain ridges for months. They found no body, no parachute, and no trace of the money. In 1980, a boy digging at Tena Bar found 3 packets of decaying $20 bills. Every serial number matched. The rubber bands had disintegrated, and the bills were loose in the sediment, consistent with money deposited by river water over years, not buried. While these bills confirmed the jump occurred, their location at Tena Bar was far from the established flight path. Instead of narrowing the search, the discovery proved that the physical evidence didn't align with any of the FBI's jump zone theories. The FBI's formal investigation, NORJAK, eventually grew to over 60,000 pages of files. Investigators looked into more than 1,000 suspects, ranging from professional criminals to military veterans. Richard McCoy Jr. emerged as a top candidate after he pulled off a nearly identical copycat hijacking just months later. McCoy was a Vietnam veteran with airborne training, giving him the exact skills required to survive a night jump from a 727. To vet these suspects, the FBI relied on a partial DNA profile extracted from the JCPenney clip-on tie Cooper left on the aircraft. This forensic evidence allowed the Bureau to eliminate suspects like McCoy and Dwayne Weber, who had made a deathbed confession to his wife. One of the most haunting details of the investigation involved the parachutes Cooper left behind. One was a training chute that had been sewn shut and was non-functional. If Cooper had chosen that specific pack, his escape would have ended instantly. Despite deathbed claims and striking circumstantial evidence, the FBI officially suspended the active hunt in 2016, citing a lack of physical proof that could definitively name the hijacker. Between 2024 and 2025, a new wave of analysis has focused on genetic genealogy. Researchers are re-examining the tie's partial DNA profile, looking for specific ancestry markers that could link the hijacker to a family tree. This is the same method used to crack the Golden State Killer case. By comparing crime scene samples to public genealogy databases, investigators can find distant relatives, potentially leading back to a name that hasn't appeared in any flight manifest. After reviewing the witness accounts and the geography of the jump, I believe Cooper was a highly prepared individual with a paramilitary background. But he jumped into a 7-degree environment during a severe storm, wearing a dark suit and dress shoes. Not a single recorded serial number ever surfaced in circulation, and the bills found at Tenna Bar were scattered by the river, not spent. This points toward a man who survived the fall but succumbed to the environment shortly after, his body and the money lost to the wilderness. The irony of the D.B. Cooper case is that his failure to survive the forest is likely why he achieved the perfect criminal disappearance. In our modern world of digital footprints and global surveillance, vanishing without a trace is virtually impossible. That makes this 1971 mystery feel like a relic from another era. I want to know what you think. Was Cooper a trained professional who made it out, or did the Pacific Northwest forests keep his secret? Let me know your theory in the comments. Over 50 years later, we are still looking up at the sky, because the stories that stay with us are often the ones where the final page is missing.